All right, let's get right into it. We're about to uncover some really groundbreaking science that is completely flipping the script on how we think about multiple sclerosis. And it all comes down to the surprising power of, well, simple movement. What if the very thing people were told to avoid for years is actually the key to healing?
For the longest time, this was it. This was the unquestioned advice for anyone diagnosed with MS. The core belief was pretty simple. To manage the disease, you had to avoid exertion. At all costs. It was a message that came from a place of fear, this deep-seated worry about making things worse.
So that's the big question, right? Does modern science actually agree with that old advice? Well, as it turns out, the scientific community now has a dramatically different answer. And it's one that offers some incredible hope, and maybe even more importantly, a new sense of control.
Okay, so let's just dig into that old way of thinking for a second. The main fear, the real worry, was that any kind of physical effort would just make that debilitating fatigue, which, is a hallmark of MS, even worse. Or, even scarier, that it could trigger a relapse and cause more damage to the nervous system.
So the whole strategy was purely defensive, It was almost like living inside a protective bubble. It was all about conserving energy, avoiding triggers, and that meant for a lot of people, movement itself was seen as the enemy. But what if that was just completely wrong? Okay, this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn, because new research isn't just kind of suggesting that movement is safe. No, it's proving that it can be a powerful form of medicine, something that directly addresses both the cognitive and the mobility challenges of MS.
And we're not talking about anything crazy here. We're talking about tailored programs, things like personalized walking routines or maybe some time on a stationary bike. Scientists put these really simple activities to the test, and what they've found has basically rewritten the entire rulebook for managing MS.
So how does this actually work? How can something as simple as walking physically change your brain for the better? Well, the evidence points to 3 pretty incredible discoveries. Let's break them down.
All right, first up, the whole concept of brain reorganization.
This is absolutely fascinating. I want you to think of your brain like a brilliant city planner. Okay, so MS damages the myelin, right? That's the protective coating on your nerve pathways. You can think of it like a major road in the city suddenly being closed. Well, using these advanced brain scans, researchers could literally see that after a period of moderate exercise, the brain was actively finding new routes, creating detours to send signals around the damaged areas. It's just incredible. And this ability to adapt and rewire itself, that's what we call neuroplasticity.
Okay, the second major discovery, this one is something people can feel directly in their day-to-day lives.
We're talking about a measurable improvement in thinking speed, and this is huge. This is about things like, remembering where you put your keys or being able to follow a complex conversation a little bit easier. By boosting the speed that your brain processes information, exercise literally helps cut through that cognitive fog that can be so frustrating.
And finally, number 3. And honestly, this one might be the most counterintuitive finding of them all. Yeah, this is the one that completely shatters that old myth of rest, rest, rest. Because it turns out that the very thing people were told to avoid, exertion, is actually part of the treatment. When it's done consistently and in a way that's personalized for you, aerobic exercise actually builds your energy reserves. It reduces that profound deep fatigue over the long term.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. We really need to stop thinking of this as just exercise. It's so much more. This is an active, self-administered neurological therapy.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if that step is taken with assistance or with a cane or on your own. It's not just about moving your body. You are actively participating in the repair and the reorganization of your own brain. Every single step becomes a direct investment in your brain health.
Okay, so knowing all this is great, but where do you actually begin? How do you start? Well, the key is taking control and setting your own rules, making this work for you. So let's look at a really practical guide.
The approach here is all about being simple and sustainable. So, first thing, start low and increase slowly. Don't go crazy on day 1. Second, try to diversify your movement. Mix it up a little to keep your body and your brain engaged. And maybe most importantly, remember this is all about persistence. It is not a marathon. It's a long-term strategy, not a race to the finish line.
And here are just a few more tips to help make this feel really manageable. Even just 5 minutes of customized, intentional movement a day, that can be golden. It's also a great idea to combine some strength training to maintain muscle mass with that aerobic exercise for your brain and your heart. But the real golden rule through all of this, consistency is way more important than intensity. Just keep showing up.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. This isn't about becoming some kind of elite athlete, not at all. It's about empowerment. It's about using the amazing tool of movement to become an active participant in your own neurological care.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you're armed with this new science, what's one small step, one new movement you can introduce into your life to start investing directly in your own brain?